Rick Snyder. Mr. Snyder is the former CEO and chairman of Gateway and was the first chairman of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. He's currently a venture capitalist. He and his wife, Sue, live in Ann Arbor and have 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rick Snyder.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. As a small business person who's devoted the last decade of his life to creating and growing small businesses in our state, I'm happy to be with you. Now, I've got 5 minutes to cover the whole economy, so let's get going. The question on the top of your mind should be not what are the problems, what's the solution? And I've got a framework for success I've used my entire life. And the best part of it is that same framework I'm going to cover is the same thing many of you have done when you built your businesses. There are 3 key steps. First, we need a vision in the state. We don't have one. Point A is a disaster. Where's that point B where we can all win together as Michiganders in the long term? The second step is we need a plan. How do you go from point A to point B? And the third step is you got to take real, measurable, tangible action, improving real people's lives. So let me walk through those 3. First, the vision. I have a bold vision. It is time for a new era in Michigan. The era of innovation. We've had 2 eras in our history. We had the natural resources era in the 1800s, the industrial era in the 1900s. It is time for a new era. And what does that era look like? It looks like a globally diverse, competitive economy offering increasing prosperity to our families. It's about our quality of life. It's about our natural resources, protecting, enhancing, enjoying them, and marketing them better. It's about restoring our central cities. Michigan can only be a great state again if Detroit's on the path to being a great city. And the third part is critical. It's about our young people. We're losing our young people at an alarming rate. We have to have a state where our young people not only want to stay, but can stay and have a family and a career. Now on to the plan. I have a 10-point plan. No way I'm doing all 10. I'm going to hit the highlights that really mean something here. Economic development. We have a failed system today. And you heard it earlier. We have a system of picking winners and losers, of using incentives like popcorn and candy, trying to lure in a few out-of-state companies. That's wrong. The right answer is to let free enterprise work, because people don't realize every time we give one of those giant incentives, no one's doing the press release that says, you've increased the tax rate for all of you, and we've all lost a fraction of a job. Let's get back to letting free enterprise work by economic gardening, by doing those concepts and doing it effectively. I've spent a good chunk of the last dozen years doing that. I wrote the business plan and was the founding chair of Ann Arbor Spark, which I believe is one of the best role models for economic gardening in our state. We need to take it statewide, and we need to cooperate with other great groups, Southwest Michigan First, Automation Alley, The Right Place. We need to have the state not be a problem, but be a clearinghouse to bring those groups together to do the right things. The next thing we need to do is tax reform. In 1982, I started my career doing tax work. I worked on something called the single business tax. It was the worst tax in the United States in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s until 2007. The new winner, the Michigan business tax. It's as if Lansing went to the video store and rented Dumb and Dumber. It simply needs to be replaced. And I've proposed replacing it with a flat 6% corporate income tax. Real simple, folks. Michigan sales, take federal taxable income times 6%, get a number, write a check, simple, fair, efficient, go run your business. We need regulatory reform too. We've got to get Lansing to stop treating us as if we're bad and we need to be controlled. The default setting will change to say the average person, the average business is a good, honest party, and let's focus on the exceptions. Where regulation is needed, the focus needs on helping people win compliance, not penalizing people and using it as a backdoor revenue source. And finally, with respect to government overall, it is time for bureaucracy to go. It is time for customer service government. You, the citizens, are the customer. It should be running to help you be successful and getting out of your way. And when they ask for a tax dollar, we need to show you value for money, not just spending your money. So join me You'll hear many politicians talk about fixing Michigan. Fixing Michigan is not good enough. It is time for us to stand up, and I am running to be the catalyst to say it's time for someone that's been from the receiving end to show up in Lansing and bring some common sense, real-world solutions and say it's time to reinvent Michigan. Please join me. Thank you.